Good to go.
This is the Sports Timeout Podcast with Jensen Maydew, Tony Caranco, and your host, Wes Underwood.
And welcome into the Sports Timeout Podcast brought to you by Jeffersons, Free Fried Pickle Fridays, and also, if you're a college student, 50 Cent Boneless Thursdays are back. So get on over there. New menu coming out next week, so get ready for that on Monday. Excited to see what's on it. Kind of on the hush-hush, but I was let know that they do have a new menu coming out, so be ready for that. Go check out Robert's Integrative Dentistry in Joplin if you're looking for a brighter, straighter smile and get those wings stuck in your teeth or the burger over there or whatever. But schedule your appointment today at 417-622-0404. And also, don't forget to check out our newest sponsor this fall, TeeTime, just south of Ghetto Taco here in Webb City. They now have a four-man scramble every week. They will pick a different course to play, 18 holes on. Then the best score wins, and they will record the closest to the hole or pick a certain one and use that for the tiebreaker. Entry fees are $250 per team, last for 5 weeks of play, basically just $15 a person there if you would like. And yeah, if that doesn't intrigue you, I'm still pumping it. Get over there and get some of that iced coffee like I do. It's delicious. And well, Wes Underwood, Clint, Tony out, Jensen back in. How are you?
I'm doing well. I just got back from the gym, so I'm a little red, but I'm doing good. How have you been? I haven't talked to you for a while.
Little blue, little blue.
Hey.
October cold coming in. No, hopefully they beat the Yankees. We'll talk about that here in a little bit. But yeah, other than that, pretty long week.
Yeah.
Ready for the weekend.
All the Astros fans are sad here.
I'm actually really happy the Royals didn't play them because usually when they go up against the Royals, it's bad news. But hey, let's go Baltimore. Let's go. Solid there. Before we go ahead and get started, make sure to hit that subscribe and follow button on YouTube. And well, first up, we'll talk NCAA. Top 25, focus on the top 10. Bama jumps up to number 1. Big win over a struggling Georgia team who, in my opinion, last week didn't deserve it. I mean, Texas falls to 2. Ohio State, who's played pretty much no opponents yet, is at 3. The Volunteers of Tennessee take the 4 spot after a good win over OU. Georgia falls from 2 to 5, though, so they're still in the top 5. Again, they barely beat Kentucky. Yeah, wow, Kentucky, tongue twister for me right now. And then they lose to Bama. Okay, so close game, barely win by 1 point. Then you have the loss to Bama, still in the top 5. Makes sense. Oregon at 6, who has played no one yet. Get back to me after they play Michigan, Illinois, OSU, Penn State, and yeah, Penn State at number 7 there is what I meant to say. And okay, I mean, they did beat Illinois by 14. So then Miami at number 8. Only notable win was Florida. Mizzou back in the top 10 at 9. And then at 10, Michigan, who did beat USC. 4 ranked opponents left. I get Mizzou still has A&M, Auburn, Bama, OU, and some others, but for them to not be in the top 5 is crazy to me because, Georgia gets that loss. Missouri is still top of the SEC, I believe, in top 3, not 100%. They may still be at number 1 because they didn't play last week. They had that bye, but I mean, I'm going to continue to say it. It's crazy that all these other teams are here. They've played no one, but it just continues to happen. And I mean, last week I talked Georgia barely beating Kentucky. Then they lost to Bama. And yeah, I mean, better second half, but still lost. Couldn't pull it out. Then Ole Miss loses to Kentucky, that team that, Georgia struggled against, and they beat Ole Miss. Ole Miss is a good team. Kentucky coming out of there with a win, first time since 1978. So that says something about that Kentucky team. And I mean, this is why I said this team is on the up and up last week. So I feel we should hold off on rankings, to be honest, until we get into maybe like week 6 or 7. But I mean, any other thoughts on the top 10 here?
Not necessarily on top 10. I feel like you covered it well,
Yeah.
but you know, being a Kansas State girly, I'm just glad that we got a win after that like really embarrassing loss to BYU.
Yeah. I mean, BYU's kind of on the up and up too, and I've heard a lot more out of them lately than I have some of these other teams. So
Yeah, still.
respectable, but yeah, K-State probably should have won that.
Yeah. And, I see Louisville is still in the top 25.
They made it back in. Okay.
Yeah, it
They,
says,
they've been on the edge.
yeah. So
It's
yeah,
been it's been interesting to watch, that's for sure.
yeah.
All right. Continuing in the NCAA, kind of the NFL here as we talk current Raiders head coach and former Arizona coach Antonio Pearson. I mean, gets the show cause penalty for Arizona State violations. And I mean, for those that don't know, let's talk about the show cause penalty real quick. It's an administrative punishment ordering that that any NCAA penalties imposed on a coach found to have committed a major rule violation will stay in effect against that coach for a specific or specified period of time and could also be transferred to any other NCAA member school that hires the coach while the sanctions are still in effect. So both the school and the coach are required to send letters to the NCAA agreeing to abide by any restrictions imposed. And they must also report back to the NCAA every 6 months until either the end of the coach's employment or to show cause penalty. And yeah, whichever comes first. So if the school wishes to avoid the NCAA penalties imposed on the coach, it must send representatives to appear before the NCAA's Committee on Infractions and show cause, i.e., proof of existence or good reason, as to why it should not be penalized for hiring the coach. And the penalty is intended to prevent a coach from escaping punishment for violations that he or she had a role in committing or allowing, which generally applied to the school. So scholarships lost, forfeited, vacated wins by merely resigning and taking a coaching job at another unpenalized school. It is currently the most severe penalty that can be brought against an American collegiate coach. And that being said, the Las Vegas Raiders coach was slapped with an 8-year, kind of a 10-year, because I mean this has been at it for a while, and usually when you're under investigation, nobody's going to hire you anyway. So, but 8-year show cause order because of violations that occurred when he was an assistant at Arizona State. And the NCAA announced on Thursday most of the violations were related to what the NCAA referred to as scheme orchestrated by Pierce to circumvent restrictions in place during the COVID-19 pandemic. And Pierce facilitated impermissible recruiting, contact with 35 products, including tryouts, football facility tours, and entertainment, and was also determined he directed. Oh, it was also determined that he directed. Sorry, I misread that there. An assistant to engage tampering with a player enrolled at another school and traveled out of state to observe and meet with prospects during a recruiting dead period. I mean, yeah, COVID was a pretty dead period for recruiting. So, I mean, and arriving at an 8-year show cause order for Pierce, the panel emphasized his role as the ringleader and orchestrating the recruiting violations, according to the report from the NCAA. And I mean, pause that here. Isn't that like Raider-esque right there? Like get caught with that. I mean, everybody on the Raiders at some point, Derek Carr got out of there before something happened. I mean, he goes to the Saints and he gets a penalty for basically gyrating on the field and doing the Michael Jackson dance. But I mean, he didn't do it while he was in Las Vegas. And well, I mean, now Pierce comes in. There's been a lot of stuff happening this offseason, and now they're hit with this. I mean, I don't know how I would feel about being under his leadership on the team. And we've kind of seen, we'll talk about that here in a minute, but we've kind of seen everything that's gone on with Devontae Adams, and he's kind of losing control of this team right now. I mean, got Max Crosby smoking who knows what in the locker room before an interview. That comes out, and then I mean, what kind of culture are they in there in Las Vegas? I mean, most of the time they call it the typical Raider culture. And I mean, for that to come out, that to be said, I don't know if I'd want to go play for that guy. And then how is he even contacting colleges to be able to recruit to the NFL? Like, how's that go? Like, I feel like that shouldn't be allowed for him because he's banned across the NCAA, had those infractions. I know they have agents and other things, but when they schedule a visit to come talk with the coach, like while they're in college, how does that work? Like, does he have to be there via Zoom? Does he have to report that? Things like that. And I mean, as a Raiders organization who fired John Gruden for what he did and just the stuff that he did there, and then for them to fire Mike Mayock after all the things that happened there, Antonio Brown for doing what he did. I mean, now you look at Coach Pierce and you're just like, okay, do you have any thoughts on this?
I feel like he fits right in, to be honest.
Yeah.
Um, but as you were talking, I was just wondering, so like obviously NCAA wise, he's affected, but is he necessarily affected NFL
I
wise?
mean, that's what I don't understand. How is that not a violation for the coach to go to the university, which is NCAA grounds, which
Right.
he's banned from, or has to report that he's there? And I mean, shouldn't be able to be allowed around any of those players. I mean, that's what I took from that. Like,
Right.
he can be at the university and he can coach, but he isn't allowed to go out and do what he needs to do to get players in uniform. So I don't know.
Y-
Like, he can coach, but he's not allowed to recruit and he's not allowed to tamper and all that stuff. And I feel like that's still kind of part of the thing in the NFL where you're going out and recruiting and you have to go to the college combines. You have to go to the universities, which I'm taking that if he doesn't give notice, which he probably does give notice, but I feel like he has to go through more channels now. I don't know how it all works, but I mean, something's fishy there.
Yeah, yeah. But I guess you could like he could always send like assistant coaches or like so that he didn't have to go.
But then the Zoom call or the phone call, like that has to be recorded and documented because he's having contact. So I don't know. Yeah,
Wow.
you get your assistant coaches there, but you're going to want to have that final walkthrough with your head coach. So I don't know.
Yeah, we'll see how it plays out. But honestly, I feel like if he was at any other NFL team, it would be like really crazy. But I feel like the Raiders are just like,
The Raiders all the time. That always happens. And that's probably why Devontae wants out because he's got that confrontation going with coach right now. I mean, basically, they get rid of his guy. Derek Carr goes to the Saints. He voices his displeasure with that. And I mean, yeah, overall, it was a great move for the organization because they needed picks and they needed to get someone else in there. Aiden O'Connell down the road may be the answer, but I mean, right now you got Gardner Minshew and all that stuff going on. So Minshew mania or whatever. But I don't know. Moving on in the NFL, we go ahead and talk Chiefs, and we'll kind of tie that Devontae Adams situation in there. But despite all the bad, the defense made a huge stand. And the Chiefs are now down Pacheco, Brown, and Rice. Rice just hit the IR yesterday. Still not specified on his injury. I'm still not thinking it's an ACL because we would have heard about that by now. And they're kind of just leaving it down there. I overall, if you're asking me, um, I know I'm not a doctor, I'm not medical, but from what it looked like, he really hyperextended the knee. He didn't look like he just went and tore the ACL or anything because you didn't see that snap. You just saw him pull himself back. and Mahomes kind of got out of his way after he felt him on his back. So I felt like he didn't fully extend there. Yeah, it looked ugly, but he was able to go sit on the bench and he was able to do that without grimacing or anything. And then they told him to go lay on the cart. And once he got on the cart, he's just kind of like, oh, got to put the towel over my face. I'm ashamed to be here. That shouldn't have happened type attitude. But I mean, that leaves though Hardman, Smith Schuster, Worthy, Moore, and Watson. I mean, okay, Smith Schuster's won a Super Bowl with this team. Hardman's won a couple with this team. Worthy looked decent on the long ball. Yeah, got shut down a little bit more because, yeah, he's the only one that they go to now. We're going to see what Andy Reid does here. We're going to see how he schemes together. I mean, not to mention Kareem Hunt put the exact same numbers up in his last game as a Chief this last week. I mean, 14 carries, 69 yards, 4.9 yards carry. Dude was almost getting 5 yards carry. And for those who second guessed, he looked good. He looked okay. And I mean, yeah, he's a little banged up this week in practice, but he also had 2 catches for 16 yards, so not bad. Keep our eyes out there. But all that being said, adding in the Devontae Adams news, he's wanting out of Vegas. Chiefs make sense. Jets make sense. Vikings make sense. Maybe a Green Bay thing doesn't happen there. I mean, going to the Vikings, but I mean, just that rivalry, you don't want to go to that. He hasn't really been a part of the Chiefs rivalry. Yeah, he had that one game where he hit the camera guy or something like that, or I don't remember, but he did something pretty obscure there in Kansas City when they lost. But I mean, maybe a current Raider doesn't go to the Chiefs though either. I don't know. Maybe he doesn't want to be in New York, and maybe we see him back with Derek Carr in New Orleans. I mean, the guy who he wanted to play for in the first place, and the Raiders traded him. I don't know, but do we see Devontae Adams with the Chiefs and their woes, and just kind of give him payback back to this organization that's kind of like, eh, okay, yeah. Oh, you're mad? Well, why are you mad? And I mean, he's voiced why he's mad. And I don't see him playing another down in Oakland or whatever we want to call him. I'm still going to call him Oakland. I don't care. A's, Oakland A's, they're gone. I'm going to call it Oakland because now it's not in existence. So, but Las Vegas anyway. So, yeah. Do we see him elsewhere? What are your thoughts?
I mean, I feel like if I was him, I would either go to the Saints or the Chiefs. The Chiefs because I feel like who wouldn't want to play with Mahomes?
And wide
And
receiver one's wide open.
right. So I feel like that makes a lot of sense. And I don't see, yeah, like I said, why they wouldn't want to play with Mahomes. But also, like, I think New Orleans does make sense since there's like, they have that brothership or whatever you want to call it. So,
Yeah.
and I always think of like, I don't know necessarily if they get to choose, but I'm always like thinking of the city that they're gonna live in. So I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm not going to New York where it's cold and snowy. Like, no, thank you.
And taxes are super high on a
Yeah.
very high salary that he'll get.
Yeah, so I think that both Kansas City and New Orleans are cool cities that like don't necessarily have like terrible downsides. So,
Unless it's the playoffs and you're playing in negative 10-degree weather or whatever. But
yeah.
minus 40, minus 60, something like that for that game.
But that was crazy. That's not normal.
A little bit. Helmets chipping off. Tyreek Hill looked phased. But that's where we'll go next in the NFL. Good points there. And we'll go ahead and talk a team who knows struggles as well, and that's Miami, the Dolphins. And look, week one with the Hill incident, then Tua goes down, QB2 now, and then we see a decline in Waddle and the receivers, and we see an increase in frustration in Hill, who was already flustered over his contract, didn't want to admit it, but he did say he's in a good spot in his life, and he was just motivating his teammates by throwing that tantrum. But I mean, do you buy that he's okay? I mean, there's lots of talk and speculation that Hill is now wanting out of Miami because things haven't gone as planned. And the rumor is the Dolphins could consider trading him. Nothing's been said yet, but he even woke up on his social media and goes, huh, interesting type thing. But I mean, they're saying that maybe instead of a rebuild, or they could trade for a QB. I mean, speaking of QB, guess who's back in the NFL again? Joe Flacco in Indy, and he's doing his thing. Guy just won't go away. He's continuing to win though, filling in for Richardson right now. And yeah. Anyway, what are your thoughts here? Anything on Hill?
Yeah, so I don't necessarily feel like I see him leaving. Um,
Okay,
I don't. I think also, how old is he now?
30 something.
Yeah, he's like getting up there now,
Yeah,
right?
31, 32 maybe. I think he's probably around my age.
I just think that like I feel like he's had a successful career, and so it just depends on like where he puts football at in his like rankings of life. Um, because I know that he went down to Miami to be like that's where he's from, right? To be by family and things,
Somewhere along that line, because he's
right?
from Alabama, I believe. I think he's an Alabama boy.
What do
Maybe Georgia. I don't know. He's
oh,
from the South.
okay. I thought he went to be closer to family. So anyways, it just like I think it depends on where he ranks football in his life.
True.
Uh, so that's my take.
Very true. I don't have much more on that one. I'm gonna wait for the details to pop out there, but right now I'm neutral. Give me another week to fester on that and see where he's at this next week playing. But all right. We now touch WNBA and we talked the Liberty and the Aces. Last week we talked on the three-peat, but the Aces have now found themselves in an 0-2 hole to the Liberty. They were blown out by 10 in the first game and then lost by 4 in the second. And I call that a blowout for the Aces because 10 points or more is a blowout for the Aces. And possible 3 games left. As of now, it's one and done for them. Do we see this Aces team get back in the right of mind? I mean, it wasn't Wilson, Young, or Plum in game one, but game two, Plum only put up 6 points, and we saw a better performance out of the whole team in general. We did see the key three. I feel, I mean, yeah, I don't know. I feel for the Aces to win one or two is you have to have Wilson, Plum, and Young all put up around 20 points or more and have them lead in the rebounds because they've kind of been down in rebounds the last couple games too that we've seen. If memory serves me right, I believe the Liberty were out rebounding them in both offensive and defensive possessions. But if they go under on points, I just feel the Liberty get their revenge and move on and maybe become your new champ here because what Stewart is it Lone Skew?
Yeah.
Something around Lone Skew Jones. And I mean they've been able to do with the out rebounding of the Aces as well as putting up points off those rebounds. I mean it's going to be a tall task for the team this week in the Aces or this weekend in the Aces, but have any thoughts to add here?
Yeah. Obviously, I'm gonna say that the Aces are gonna come back because that's the team. But
Yeah.
um I feel like I say this like every week when we go through like home versus away games, but I do think that like they have a better shot now that they're back in Vegas to win some games. Just because like New York and you even saw Plum and Spike Lee like get into it.
Yeah.
So like New York is just New York. Like there's no other way to put it. Um, so it's just like a different breed. So I
True.
think that now that they're back at home, it'll be different. Hopefully. But I do know that I think I saw that no team has ever came back from 0-2. So
Well, if they're the team to do it, it would be them. So
yes, I agree. I agree. So it'll be a fun game to watch. I'm really excited about it.
yeah, I am too, and I'm probably going to tune in after the Royals game, and that's what we're moving on to next. Yeah, October is back for Kansas City, and they beat the Orioles 2-0. And well, we talked the Royals, and holy moly, though, Cardiac Boys are back. Two physically fought games in Baltimore. The Royals have yet to lose a postseason game in Baltimore since 2014. The Orioles have not won a postseason game since 2014. The Royals are 6-0 against Baltimore to this day. The Royals are now 3-0 in their last 3 wild card games because the last one was just 1 and this one had 2. And they have played in those phenomenal baseball and have contended all the way to the end in both or all 3 of those matches, the A's and then Baltimore. What this team has done on one season is amazing. 56 and 106 last season, 86 and 76 this season, 30 game improvement. You have the MLB overall batting title leader and the AL batting title leader, Bobby Wood Jr., batting .332 this season, 30 homers, 31 stolen bases. You have Seth Lugo, a Cy Young candidate. Been a while since Kansas City had one. In fact, back in 2015 with Wade Davis for the Royals there. That was their last Cy Young candidate. You finished second in a close AL Central. All but the White Sox got hot and made it to the end. You saw the Twins lose out there. You have 2 finish in the top 10 for the Royals and RBIs produced, Bobby Witt Jr. and Salvi. 3 in the top 20 if you count Vinny there. He'd be higher if he didn't break his hand, but he came back and made a big difference in game 2. I believe he only missed 1 at the plate, so that's pretty impressive. And then not to mention for pitching, I mean, Waka, Lugo, top 20 in wins. Lugo was 16, Waka with 13. Lugo was 10th in ERA. Reagan's had a 3.14 ERA. Waka had a 3.35 ERA. 3 in the top 20 there on ERAs. And it's crazy to think about, but they will take on the Yankees, and we for sure will see George Brett appearance in this series. I mean, you would have to, knowing his history with the Yankees and the playoffs in 1976. Yankees won 3-2. This is for the organization in general. Yankees won that series 3-2. ALCS. 1977, Yankees win again 3-2. 1978, they won 3-1. 1980, the Royals won 3-0. So, in this playoff tale for the Royals, they are 3-1 in the postseason, or 1-3, sorry, in the postseason against the Yankees. So, I don't know. Since 1980, things have kind of been on the up and up when the Royals do make it into the postseason. But yeah, they've all gone the distance in a couple of those meetings. 13 and 14, though, going over to the Yankees. 13-14, they missed this postseason. 15, they lost in the wild card. 15 missed the postseason. 17 lost in the ALCS. 18 lost in the ALDS. 19 lost in the ALCS. 20 lost in the ALDS. 21 wild card loss. 2023 missed the postseason. Could this be the year the Yankees break that 15-year silence from the World Series? I mean, this will be a good series. This will be a good series. And if we don't go all 5, I'll be surprised. 2 in New York, 2 in Kansas City, and the decider in New York. As a Royals fan, our expectations have been exceeded thus far already. I mean, we won 2, didn't go the full 3. They get some rest. And then in New York, I think the pressure is on. I mean, they have the money, they spend the money, and they grab top caliber players. And the Yankees are coming off a great season, and they had to fight it for it, but they have also not played a game in 6 days now by the time they play tomorrow. And the Royals played Tuesday and Wednesday, so they are still kind of in season form, and I'm sure they're just traveling and then going to partake in baseball activities. So we will see. One more fun fact here for the Royals. Every team from single A up to the majors was in contention for the playoffs until late August. So let that sink in, because that's pretty awesome. Single A in Columbia, 500 record, finished 9 games out, but they were in contention until late August. Quad City, High A, they made it to the postseason. They were 38 and 28. They lost to Wisconsin in the division series. Double A, the Naturals finished below 500, but they lost out to Springfield and lost out to Arkansas as well in the final stretch there, pretty much literally within the last 15 games. Then in Omaha, they made the postseason. AAA made it all the way to the AAA national championship game. And now the Royals are heading to the DS and the MLB. 3 of 5 teams in this organization made it to the postseason. It's crazy stuff. Well done for them. I'm excited to see it. Are you going to watch any of it?
Yeah, actually, we watched the Royals play this week. So, but I also
You
wanted
go to
to,
that? Or no, you never mind. They didn't come to Houston, duh.
no, we just watched, we went to a bar and watched. But
Okay.
I wanted to put out there that I feel like you've like called this from the beginning. Like, I remember you talking at the beginning of the season, like about like the bullpen and all of this. So I
I
think
am
it's
upset with the Cardinals. They ruined it for me. I called them making a wild card. Didn't say they would win. They had all the things to go, and then they just erupted. They imploded. So
but
yeah,
we'll just see.
keep
Because
going. I like. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, something was special in this off season, and it brought me back to what it was like in 2014, 2015. Things were happening. The right people were signed, the right veteranship. I brought it up. I mean, it was like everything that happened in that off season, which makes me wonder what next year is going to be like, even if they don't make it to the World Series. But if they do, and they have that same thing where they lose out um, after taking it back to Kansas City and all that stuff, and we got to watch that heartbreak in 2014. But to see that, I mean, it's crazy. Like last year, we're not even thinking October, halfway through the season. Injuries galore. People are just leaving left and right. The Royals are making deals. They go get Reagan's, which at that point I was like, okay, this is a young gun and he's going to be good. And I'm excited for him to play. It turns out now he's in kind of, I mean, I honestly feel like he's in the Cy Young competition as well. I mean, we talk Lugo, but Reagan's in that game one to hold them to 1 run and go as long as he did in the game. Just, it was awesome. And couldn't have asked for anything more out of him. He did what he needed to do and he knew the assignment and he went out there and pitched great. Who the Royals throw this Saturday, I'm not sure. It's still too early for him to go. I guess if they needed him in the later innings, they may let him go. But I think he might be the game 2, or if they come back to Kansas City, game 3, game 4. I know Waka's in there. I know that he's probably going to get some love, and I know that he's going to. I mean, his ERA is in the threes, so I'm excited for this. Hasn't been very much excitement there up until last year when they, finished out the season okay, but still nothing to brag about because obviously their record was horrible. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know. We'll see.
yeah.
And now we go ahead and talk soccer, and that's brought to you by the Corner Kick in Neosho. Be sure to stop by the Corner Kick located at 1411 Blue Oak Lane, Suite C, Neosho, Mo. And they have the largest soccer store in Southwest Missouri, Northwest Arkansas, Southeastern Kansas, Northeastern Oklahoma. So be sure to check them out Tuesday through Sunday for your football needs. And oh man, this team right here. All right. Kansas City Current. We got to talk them again. I mean, last week we talked them chasing the 3 spot against Gotham. And did we get a game out of that? I mean, after an own goal, it looked rough early. A lot of drama in the first half, but the Current backline was way more alert in the second half. Even Chawinga was shut down in that first half. Nothing out of her. Nothing. And the announcers were like just talking down on her, and it was weird. Never have I heard that out of the announcers this season, but they came up in the second half. Chawinga was able to get her 17th goal on the season. And now with 4 matches left to go, we're on record watch with Chawinga. That's how awesome this is. We talk all the stuff with the Royals and then now soccer with Chawinga. And I mean, she sits 1 goal away from tying the NWSL record for most goals in a season, which is 18 from Sam Kerr back in 2019 with the Red Stars. And if she gets a goal this Saturday in this match against Louisville, Jensen's favorite team. No, I'm just kidding. But it would be the icing on the cake for this season. I mean, you know what's really cool about this club though in Kansas City? They're always setting history and records. Let's date back to the NWSL beginning. April of 2013, when the league began, FCKC had the first goal scorer in the NWSL in Reina Kaya, I believe. And then the Kansas City Current have then surpassed that with the fastest goal in a season from Michelle Cooper in 22 seconds, 2023, so last season. And I mean, this is also Chawinga's rookie season. I don't know what it takes in the NWSL to qualify as a rookie. I mean, I need to find this out. But if it is, she's dominated the rookie season record for goals, which was 11 by Diana Ordonez. And I mean, so I don't know. We need to see what qualifies as a rookie in the NWSL. She's 25 when she joined the team. Yeah, I don't know. But back to records as of now. Kristen Hamilton of the Current is tied for most goals in a game with 4. She came in 2019 to do that. She was able to do that at, I believe she did it at home too, at the Sporting KC Stadium there. And then she also tied with most hat tricks in a season with 2, both with Sam Kerr. So then back when they were FCKC, Michelle Betos was the first goalkeeper to score a goal. And then the youngest player to score a goal was set by Alex Pfeiffer at 16 years, 3 months, and 9 days back in March. And I mean, that right there, out of the 12 notable records in the NWSL, 6 of them are held by the Kansas City Current. Should be 7, should be 8, could be 7 soon, but should be 7, 8 by the end of the year. But I don't know what qualifies. Sam, we bring you in here. What NWSL, what would qualify you to be a rookie? Like Chawinga comes in, this is her first season. Is she considered a rookie, or is it because she's played elsewhere?
No, I mean, I would think rookie, you're thinking first year at the pros.
Okay. So, okay. First year overall. Okay.
Yeah.
So maybe not. Get my hopes up there, but hey. But
No, it's good. Thanks for having me on, guys. I appreciate it. Sorry I came in late.
No, you're fine. Just talking about Kansas City being a special place. I mean, you heard it there. 6 of 12 notable records in the NWSL. Kansas City holds 6 of them. And I'm just like speechless over that. And we could see 7 potentially by the end of the year because Chawinga is leading the Golden Boot race. And it's very close to the most goals scored in a season. So, but I'm hoping that they can pick up the 3 points against Louisville. I want to see how far they can make it in the playoffs. But if they win this weekend, I think there was a lot that had to happen for them to be able to clinch. I think it's like a semifinal or something like that in Kansas City, because we already know the final is in Kansas City. So, but they were able to tie the defending champs in Gotham. Gotham still has Bay FC, who is fighting to get into the playoffs for the first time ever because this is their first year in existence. And they have the Red Stars, who are fighting for that 5 seed. And then they have Orlando to finish out. So I'm excited for this series. But do you have any additional thoughts on the Current's finish out here?
Yeah, no, my thoughts are that Kansas City's special when it comes to soccer. I mean, it's considered that way countrywide. I mean, at one point, and I think still they consider KC to be the capital of soccer for the U.S. men's national team. And I think that really what can't be understated is obviously how new the program is.
Yeah.
And then that we're in Kansas City. So, like, we don't get the talent maybe that other places do because we're not a coastal town. Sure. And so, like, when you talk about, like, on the guys side of it, I mean, it's hard to bring in somebody, you know, because they're going to want to go to Los Angeles or New York or
well, there's good news for us because the ports are closed, Sam.
That's true. We do have that going for us. So
they got to fly to the Midwest now.
But no, I think what the Current have done is outstanding.
Yeah, and it's been super fun to watch, and hope you and your wife get to go enjoy that last game of the season up there because that's going to be fun.
We're excited.
Should be, should be. All right. Next up in the MLS, we talk Sporting Kansas City. Season's over, and now we wait to see what happens with the season's end. Sporting has officially been eliminated from the playoff contention with 2 games left. We see what will happen at home, and here's the pressing issue for Sporting. All right, contracts and possible retirements. You got Leibold and Radoya in Kansas City through 25 with an option. Lido in Kansas City till 26, Shalloway the same. Davis and KC until 29 with his new contract. Pulskamp and Voltaire, Rosero, Shelton all have 1 year left. Agata, as of now, leaves Sporting in December unless he gets that option. Same with Tommy because they came in at the same time for that international window. And then you have Ndebe, Basong, who just got called up to Canada's national team. Fontas, Voltaire, um, Russell, Melia. I mean, they're up on contracts, and that's big with 8 players potentially saying, see ya, Kansas City. And then you have 2 contemplating retirement. I mean, right there, because Russell, Melia, they're not the youngest guys in the box, but then you have Vermees, who earned that new contract that keeps him here in Kansas City until 2028. We'll see what he and Mike Burns can put together this offseason as he's joined the club back in June. And we'll see. We'll see because the Cauldron members are already not happy. And we saw what happened last season after the letter to the team and then the rebound from the team. They turned it around. But this year they kept it fun and then just couldn't finish out games. So lots to think about this offseason. But here's some notable free agents. I mean, do we see center back Aaron Long come to Kansas City? Can they pick up Tim Parker? Maybe even bring in Nick Lima? Can they grab Ruan? Will Russell come back? Will Melia be back? I mean, they still have opportunities to pull them back into. Or will they go get Matt Bersano or Spencer Ritchie or Tyler Miller or, say with last year's rookie, stay with last year's rookie and Shayway or give Pulskamp a try and see what he does in a lone season. Again, lots of answers, lots of things that need to be addressed for this club for this season. I don't know. Do you think they can win at home to win out and keep it positive for next year? And then how do you see them addressing these players that are leaving?
I think the problem is what's the project now, right? So is mediocrity acceptable? I don't know. I'm not happy with it. I know the Cauldron's not going to be happy with it. Those of us that have been around and fans of the club for a long time have a high standard for this club. And yeah, it's not, I don't know, when you get to talking about some of those guys, how do you retain them, right? What are you enticing them with? What's the incentive? I don't know. I mean, you can try to say, well, we almost got it done in the Open Cup. And that's cool. But also that's something the MLS doesn't even take serious right now.
Nope.
So, which is a shame. They should, but
they should.
They don't. And so I don't know how you sit and say, okay, I think that's what has to be done. That's what has to be done behind closed doors over this offseason has to be what's the plan, what's the project, and then you've got to sell that to talent to get to keep them. And if we don't have a good, clear picture of that and express it to our fan base, I think we're gonna see problems. But right now, it feels like we're stuck in neutral. To me,
I'm there, and it's been that way since the end of last season. But I'm gonna move on. Think you know where I'm going with this.
Oh yeah, I wore the shirt.
We'll talk up next U.S. men's national team, and I mean, do you want to walk through that first roster reveal?
So it's exciting. Pochettino comes in and he releases a roster we kind of expected, pretty close to what's the norm. But he said some things, I think, which is what's exciting, is he's been asked some questions today. He did a thing about Brendan Aronson, who a few years back was a big up-and-comer for for the team that we thought was really going to be something. He kind of fell out of the starting lineup and is now kind of used as a super sub. He was over there at Leeds United with McKinney, and I think it was Tony Adams was there with him. And they didn't get it done and they got relegated. Leeds is historically a huge club over in England. So they're fighting really hard to get promoted back to the Premier League this year. But Aaronson's really kicked on and he looks really good. And Pochettino came out and said, and this is, I think, the big thing. This is where we needed to go with a coach, is somebody who's going to make the tough decisions, that doesn't care who they are, doesn't care who their dad was and how many caps he had for the international team or any of that stuff. So he's come out and said straight away, if you are not playing for your club team, don't expect a call up. So there you go. Gio Reyna, Matt Turner, all these guys that are used to just getting called up because, dad played for the team or because, I don't know, Matt Turner's the tallest keeper we've got right now or whatever. Pochettino doesn't care. It's about being in form and what you're going to bring in. And he's not looking to make friends. He's looking to make wins.
Absolutely.
I love it. Can't get enough of it.
And that's what you got to have at this point after what we saw. And I mean, like, we're just sitting here like that was I'm going to say one of the worst performances I've ever watched out of that team, other than just a couple of the losses here and there. But that was utterly one of the worst performances I've watched.
I mean, you look at us losing, getting knocked out of Copa America to Panama 2-1.
Yeah.
Whether Weah gets a red card or doesn't get a Weah, whatever. We should beat that team with 10 men. Not a month later, probably a month later. So Portugal plays Panama on a friendly and beat them 10-0. Is that where we're at? Are we 10-0 behind Portugal? We can't be. We can't be. It's unacceptable.
No. Yeah.
So.
And I mean, other notable for me on that roster, you said Aronson for sure, but I like Pulisic too and what he can do.
Yeah.
So
and then Robinson getting called up from the MLS is cool. I think it's Rob. He's had a really good performance.
Anthony or Miles?
No, Miles.
Okay.
Anthony's killing it over there. He's an exciting prospect right now, playing for Fulham. He's been in the Premier League player team of the week 3 weeks running for Fulham. And I mean, that's the top 11 players in the Prem, so he's beating out everyone at left back. Liverpool and Manchester United are in a bidding war for him over the winter.
Yeah.
So that's a big move for an American.
Oh, yeah. And I mean, and that's why I said that there, because I like both of them.
Yeah, I love, and Robinson's nickname's Jedi, so I don't know, I like that. He's cool. And so fast. But Pulisic's lighting up Italy. I mean, he is just unbelievable, on fire right now. Alexi Lawless came out and said he's one of the top 25 best players in the world right now. But me and Lawless don't typically see eye to eye on most things. So I don't know. I'd say he's one of the top 25 wingers in the world right now. I'll give him that. So I don't know.
All right. Lastly, in soccer news, Joplin's in the Bolivar Liberator Classic started yesterday, then goes through today and tomorrow. For more information, tune into Joplin's social media pages, and then Neosho and Carthage head to the Kickapoo Shootout. They were there yesterday, and they'll take them on today and tomorrow, the teams that they've got. Social media for theirs as well. And then lastly, Carl Junction, surprise team in the area this year. Pretty good record. They head to the Lakers Shootout today, and they'll be there tomorrow as well. So something to watch. I mean, local soccer's been pretty fun this year. Love it.
Yeah, to touch on that too. So CJ, what they're doing right now is been a 10-year project. From their club team, their city league team to their club team, it all builds into from grassroots all the way up. And they've really, really prioritized getting it done this year. They're doing a fantastic job. They've got a very talented goalkeeper in the net at CJ. And Carthage is looking all right. Joplin, what Des has done over at Joplin has been, I mean, they've taken some top teams in the area to the very, double overtimes and pens and so they've looked really good. Another standout performer in our area is Crowder's men's team. Yeah, is having a pretty good season. They beat Jeffco the other day, and then tied Coffeyville. So
they get overlooked quite often, and I don't know why.
Well, historically, I don't know, kind of up and down.
Yeah, it's up and down.
I don't
But
want
this year's a
I
good
love
one, and I haven't
Crowder.
heard anything about it.
Yeah, I love that we have it. And I'm a big fan of Crowder's program, and I want to see it succeed. So it's awesome to see they're putting the ball in the back of the net this year.
Yeah.
So hats off to the coaches over there.
Will do. Well, thanks for that. And we'll go ahead and head into the local sports update brought to you by Trackside Burgers. Open at 1515 West 10th Street. So go get some weekend barbecue today or tomorrow. You definitely won't regret it. But over on MSSU side, volleyball returns home today against Central Oklahoma, 6 p.m. at LMP, and then tomorrow versus Arkansas Fort Smith. Both matches begin at 6 p.m. As for soccer, the Lions head to Tahlequah to take on NSU at 7 p.m. and then they return home Sunday to take on Rogers State at 2 p.m. And then for football, they come off the first win of the season and return home to host UCO at 2 p.m. this Saturday. Fred G. Hughes, look for that place to be rocking because hopefully that momentum rides in with them. But all right, we'll go into the 2-minute warning brought to you by Ghetto Tacos. Fridays get 10% off burritos all day, and they do close at 5 p.m. though. Located at 536 North East Street, Webb City. Drive-through available. Be sure to call that number if you're going to go do that, 417-717-1261. And make sure you stop by, get some food, get some good food, top award-winning in the country. And if not, get some tres leches or some sweetbread. I mean, both of them are super worth it. Love it. Wouldn't advertise it if it didn't. Or if you're just looking for a good Coke or Guaritas, they got some good stuff in there, good flavors. So, all right, high school football picks are here. Ready?
Yes.
3-2 Joplin heads to 4-1 Carthage. Who you got?
Carthage.
Joplin.
Tiebreaker.
Man,
I only picked Joplin because Neosho and Carthage have a historically really big rivalry when it comes to soccer, so I can't pick Carthage. That's how I made my pick.
I have to go Carthage this week and see what Joplin can do. Last week I picked them and they let me down on a last drive and just crumbled, and they could have won the game, and don't know what happened to them. But Carthage tends to put up that kind of defense on football, so we'll see. But I'm going Carthage. 2-3 Webb heads to 4-1 Republic. Who you got?
Republic.
Hey, Tony probably is echoing Republic right now, too, because he called him to win the COC at the beginning of the year. So he can't take that back at this point. We're giving Tony Republic here instead of Webb City. But I'm going to go Republic here, too. 4-1 Neosho. Sounds so weird to say. But they host 2-3 Willard. Who you got?
Neosho.
N-E-O-S-H-O.
I can respect that. Clean sweep for Neosho. Man, articulation's off for me tonight. But all right, that's it. Well, music's here. End of another episode for Tony, Jensen, Clint, and myself, and Sam this week from the Corner Kick. Have a great and safe weekend. You guys got any fun plans going on?
0 over here.
I head to Jackson, Mississippi tomorrow.
October ready. Let's go Royals.
Yes, sir.
It's full sports season right now. Soccer, baseball, football's going. It
is. Ball's when it's happening. Now I'll be coaching all weekend. I'll be back late Sunday.
All right. Well, safe travels, and y'all have a good rest of your weekend. Take care.
Appreciate it. Have a good night, guys.
You too.